Good afternoon, all the viewers. Myself, Pramod Kumar Sharma. As we know, the Hindu law is a branch of law. Under that, we are learning the Hindu Marriage Act and their regulation. So, uh, if we talk the Hindu marriage, so in that we learn the origin of Hindu marriage or origin of Hindu law, nature of Hindu law, uh, sources of Hindu law or school of Hindu law. If we talk in terms of the origin of Hindu law, the Hindu word came into Vagu with the advent of Greeks who called the inhabitant of the Indus valleys and beyond these valleys. Means, first of all, the persons they are living in the Hindu valley civilization and the beyond that valley, they are termed as a Hindu. So the advantage goes with the Greeks and inventors who has uh, found the term Hindu in terms of the inhabitants living in the vicinity of the Indus Valley. So first of all, they are termed as a Hindu. Now, Hindu law applies on Hindu as per the codification of Hindu law in 1955. Before 1955, the Hindu law was governed by the different dynasty and their customs and ritual and rites. And as per that, all the Hindu law was governed. So we can say uh, the Hindu law only applies on the Hindu people. So we can say a person who is not a Muslim. Muslim means the persons they are having faith in the uh, Pagambar and their religion. So for the Hindu, they must not be belongs from a Muslim community, nor the Christians, Parsi or the Jew. So the persons they are not from the Hindu, uh, the persons those who are not from the Muslim community, Christian community, Parsi community or Jew community is a Hindu. Any person Hindus by religion. The second point, if any person uh, by the religion uh, and they are having the faith in the Hindu religion, they automatically become the Hindus and their all rites and rituals and ceremony will be as per the Hindu uh, law and they are termed as a Hindu. The next, that is the any person who is born of Hindu parents is that mother or father is Hindu and their upbringing with the Hindu rites and rituals or according to Hindu family. So he become the Hindu. So we can say any person who is born of Hindu parents is that Hindu by birth. Now, any person convert to Hindu. Suppose after birth a child, if the conversation in the Hindu or he is accepting the Hindu norms and the Hindu sanskar, then only he can be termed as a Hindu. So any person who are belonging to the other religion, if they are converting their own religion to Hindu, he becomes the Hindu. Otherwise, he cannot be termed as a Hindu. So we can say the all the persons they are Hindu, they are having the faith Hindu in the Hindu religion. So before independence, a person who was Hindu by religion was uh, certainly a Hindu. There was uh, no different definition of the term Hindu before the independence, and it has been not noticed by the any persons that so and so person is a Hindu and so and so person is a Muslim. But after the independence, The Hindu notified and any person who belongs to the any form of Hindu religion, they can be termed as a Hindu. Now, if we talk the persons, they are changing their religion and they are living in the vicinity of Hindu religion and they are adopting the norms, modes, the customs as per the Hindu rites and rituals, they automatically become the Hindu. Sometimes the persons are also declare that he is Hindu, so he can also be treated as a Hindu. The crux of the Hindu religion is realization of self. If we talk, the Hindu religion is the oldest form of religion. So, in the Hindu religion, the main focus point that is the self-realization or inner engineering. Self-realization means the understanding oneself, or the inner engineering means understanding oneself in the different mode. So it passes through so many phases of bhaktis and karma marg. If we talk in terms of the Hindu religion, so there is a great upliftment, and there are so many ups and downs in the development of the Hindu religion, starting from the main uh, came. So we can say the arrival of the man or the uh, when the existence of human beings experience from that onwards, there is a changes in the all the religions. So due to the bhakti and the karma mark, the Hindu religion also fortified. The ultimate principle always follow the way of life. So we can say the Hindu religion always following the principle of and following the good way of life, and in this way the origin is started. Hindu also follows Lingyat, means the Lord Shiva, means the Hindu person, they are following or they are follower of the Lord Shiva. In ancient era also some of the uh, murti and some of the idols are found which are means of the Lord Shiva, and their symbols are also termed the Lord Shiva. So starting from the beginning, as per the as per the religion, the Lord Shiva is the oldest one, and the persons they are following the Lord Shiva, they are called Sav. So, in this also the follower of Jain, follower of Sikh, follower of Buddha, they are also the some part of the Hindu only, and the Hindu law equally applies on the Jain, Sikh or Buddhist. Nuclear of the Hinduness is established is a Hindu, so the Hindu thought or the Hindu religion or the Hindu rites and rituals also term as a Hindu, the persons they are following the Hindu rites, rituals, and their things and the way of life, they are applying their own life starting from the morning to the night and birth to death, so they become the Hindu. Suppose the Hindu law does not apply to whom, means a children whose mother is a Christian and father is a Hindu, but that child brought up as Christians, he will not be termed as a Hindu. Of course, her father or his father is a Hindu, but the brought up was done as per the Christian rites and rituals or the Christian community or as per the Christian religion, so he cannot be termed as a Hindu. Like that, a children whose mother is Muslim and father is Hindu and who are brought up as a Muslim, he cannot be termed as a Hindu. If we talk as per the Hindu, so whenever there is a brought up as per the Muslim, so he cannot be termed as a Hindu. Suppose the mother is Muslim and father is Hindu, but they're brought up as per the Hindu family, then automatically they become the Hindu because they are following the Hindu rites and rituals. Hindu converts as a Christian and died as a Christian. Suppose some of the person belonging to the Hindu communities, they die as a Christian, so their offspring or their children cannot be uh, termed as a Hindu because their father uh, they have converted the religion and died in that religion only, so they cannot be termed as a Hindu. Suppose Mr. Ram Prasad is a Hindu, he is a working engineer in any government job. With the vicinity of the other ladies, he become the Christian, he converted himself as a Christian, and his son, Mr. Lugun, they also changed the name, but their conversion has not taken places, and so that Mr. Lugun become the Christians and he cannot be termed as a Hindu. So Hindu converts as a Muslim faith, and he must be a bona fide, then only uh, he is a Muslim only, and in this way the persons they are converting himself as a Muslim faith from the Hindu, he become the Muslim. So the Hindu laws does not apply on these peoples. So we can say the Hindu law 1955 only applies and only applies to the peoples who are having the belief in the Hindu, or by birth they are Hindu, or their parents are Hindu, and they are having the faith in the Lord Shiva and the other Hindu uh, uh, religious Lord. So on the basis of that they can turn. Now we have the case laws Ram Mohan Das versus Devaswan Board, Kerala High Court 1974. There is a judgment of the Kerala High Court in 1974 that the Mulakal Bhagwati temple at Alleppey, Alleppey is the district of Kerala, is a Hindu temple. The Mulakal Bhagwati temple is a Hindu temple run by the Devasan board. So as per the direction of Kerala government, the board was constituted and their name was kept as a Devasan board, and they are looking after the Mulakal Bhagwati temple for their maintenance and all the ceremonies purpose. They are the heir of that temple. There is a annual Ustav or festival conducted in uh, Mulakal Bhagwati temple in the month of November and December. That period can be termed as a Mandalam period. So Mandalam period, uh, in every year there is a annual Utsava conducted by this Devaswan board, and in this Utsava, all the Hindu people from any part of the India, they are going to the Mulakal temple, Bhagwati temple, and they are offering their uh, prayers and the puja to God. And in this way, the Hindu temple becomes famous. So, on 23rd December 1972, annual festival or annual Utsava was arranged by Mr. P.S. Moni, who was a proprietor of Chempaka Jewelers. He is the owner of Chempaka Jewelers, inviting K.J. Sudas, a well-known playback singer, for concert. Now, see how it is happening. In 1972, the Utsav was organized by Mr. Moni. He was a businessman and he wanted to, there must be a concert in that Utsava. So he contacted uh, well-known playback singer Mr. K.J. Sudas, and he want to have a concert in the premises of temple, so that all the Hindu persons they can enjoy and they can have the faith in God and they can participate in this Utsava. So, Mr. P.S. Moni contacted with the Mr. Yesudas for his concert, and he also given the application to the organization of Devaswan board uh, for approving that he wants to that Mr. K.J. Sudas should perform the concert as he is a well-known playback singer, and he has the repo in the uh, uh, filmy world. So, in this way, all the persons they are coming from a different part of the India, they can enjoy the Utsava or the festival. So, Mr. Moni has put an application to the board that he should grant the permission so he can call the Yeshudas. If any person is bona fide, declares that he is a Hindu, in any person is a bona fide and he is declaring himself as a Hindu, so he can be termed as a Hindu, and on the basis of that, they can be given permission for the concert. But we can say, in this case, uh, the Devasana board has stopped. Devasana board has stopped the things, and he was telling that Yasudas is a Christian, so he cannot enter into the temple premises and he cannot perform the concert. Yasudas given declaration by self as a Hindu, and he also declared that he is also following the Hindu religion and faith in the Hindu religion, and also having the faith in the Hindu religion. So, no ulterior motive or intention for the declaration. So, Kerala High Court given the judgment on the guidelines of the Supreme Court that he should be allowed to perform the concert. If any person bona fide and declares that he is a Hindu, he must be treated as a Hindu and he perform their concert. So we have the case laws regarding the how the person declared as a Hindu and he is following the norms of the Hindu and he becomes the Hindu. So like that it is happening. Now, if we talk in terms of the origin of Hindu law, so Hindu jurisprudence is a well-developed science. Science means the systematic study of any discipline on the path of scientific. So, as for the Hindu jurisprudence, the law is well-defined science, and all the Hindu, they are believing in their religion, they can also term as a Hindu, and their uh, faith in the God also will be rigid. So we can say the ancient wisdom is a storehouse of the present knowledge or the present jurisprudence. Under that we can converse the things and we can work together for the development. So we can say whenever there is a changes in the nature of the law, and on the basis of that all the systems are changing. So we can say the Hindu law or the Hindu jurisprudence is a well developed science on the basis of scientific study, on the basis of scientific method, on the basis of the practical knowledge. The Hindu religion uh, established from the ancient time. So Hindu jurisprudence is a science of the ancient wisdom. So we can say on the wisdom of that we can working together. Now we talk how the Hindu law was originated. As we know, starting from the beginning, in the starting there was only Vedas. Vedas have a great ideas. In Vedas, there is a great word written for the Hindus, and we are taking that word from the Vedas only. So we can say after that the sages, saints, philosophers and thinkers came into the existence and they also glorify the Vedas. So all the main things, all the creams are dreamed from the Vedas. As we know, there are four Vedas. They are working for the different job. So we talk that is the Rig Veda. Before 320 BC, it came into the existence and they have glorified the Hindu religion. If we talk the verses of sages, santas, and the philosophers and the thinkers who had the great ideas, so on the basis of that they are derived. Then, in principal part of the dharma, as per the Hindu jurist, if we talk Hindu jurist, the persons which are working for the development of the law and for the development of the other things, they can also learn the dharma of the Hindu. So Hindu dharma based on the karma, and in this world the karma is only the thing which can give the fruit. So we can say on the karmas and the dharmas, all the things are guided, and in this way the Hindu law originated. The Vedas, Smritis and approved usage, and it is a direct evidence of the dharma. So we can say uh, dharma is a direct evidence of the uh, life, and in the dharma we have taken the something from the Vedas, Smriti or usage. Usage means that is the things we are adopting in our day-to-day life. So whenever there is a change in the day-to-day life or changing in the system, so we can also changing their perception, and on the basis of perceptions they are also having the uh, thoughts and our ideas. So we can say the Vedas, Smritis, these are approved by the usage. Usage means whatever we are doing starting from the morning to night or day-to-day usage. So it is a usage is a direct evidence of the dharma. So we can say Vedas and Smritis are this is also a direct form of the dharma. Now, origin of the Hindu law. So as per the Austin, Hindu law as a laws of God means starting from the primitive time to now, or the different Hindu uh, regime, whatever the dharmas tell, whatever the courtier or the other person they are following to the Raja, they are also giving the guidelines for the development of the people. So we can say the Hindu law can be termed as laws of the God, because as per the God will we are working, and in same time we are living and we are doing all the things as per the uh, God surveillance. Now, in the ancient era, the law was independent of the state. There is no concept of the a state, if there was a state, so somehow they are not developed. There is a Bhagu picture of the state, so laws must be free from the state. Otherwise, there will be a mingle of the things and system goes wrong. That's why the Hindu law is free from the state uh, independence or state dependency. So we can say it is free from the state dependency and there is having their own phenomena and they are derived on that. So we can say the Hindu law binding the sovereign of the subject. So Hindu law also binding the sovereign of the subject means whenever uh, the Hindu religion as term, they are binding authority of the entire state. So they are binding the entire state and they are yielding the good things from the farm and doing the farming, all the things are happening. So we can say the binding sovereign and the subject means and the law also binding to the people or on the basis of that it is a supreme. So we can say law is the king of kings. लॉ क्या होता है किंग का भी किंग होता है so on the basis of that we can say the Hindu law is a king of kings and it is powerful and rigid. Nothing can be mightier than the law. So we can say the law is a mightier than the other things and it is not lighter than the other things. It is powerful and the king of the kings. So on the basis of that, we can say the Hindu law traveling the things and on the basis of that we are deriving the law. Now we can say if we talk in terms of the Hindu law have the religion on the basis of caste custom also. So Hindu law as a custom origin we can say in India there are so many customs and the persons are following their own customs in different territory. So we can say first time the European jurist called Hindu law based on custom. So as a nutshell we can say as per the European jurist whatever the law based on custom that is the Hindu law simply. Then it is a collection of uses, modes, transaction which was prevailed in that society. Now become in any society the people are living and we are telling him that whatever your usage you must follow. Then whatever your modes you must follow. Then what are the tradition you must follow. So which were prevalent in the society. But it is not sure that all the things happening and this facility will be given to him. So whenever there is a tradition which are supported by the customs, we cannot change. Then prior to the Brahmanism, if we talk, the Hindu religion is a more developed form and it is prior to the Brahmanism means whenever there is a Brahmin, they came into the existence. Before that, the Hindu law was existing. Then Aryan accepted with the or without the modification of original customs. So if we talk in the civilization, early civilization that is the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Sindhu, Indus Valley Ghati. So on the basis of that, all the persons they are accepting the norms of the Hindu or accepting with or without modification so that family or individual can be termed as a Hindu. So at the starting of the first time, the Aryan accepted with the or with the modification of the original custom. So we cannot tell that the system is not running. So whenever there is a change in the system or whatever the things happening, that we can say these are the systems under that we can uh, change the customs. Otherwise, all the things are happening as per the custom. So if we talk, the custom is also playing the formal role in the formation of law. So Bureau of India and the persons that are working in that, and that is the Hindu Bureau and the different Ministry of HRD and the organs, they are also working for towards the development of the people and to save them their religion, whether they are Hindu or the Muslim, but their religion will be uh, saved by the government or uh, the persons they are looking after the kingdom. So Hindu code was not enforced since ancient Hindu kings. If we talk, starting from the uh, ancient time, the Hindu law was not codified. So it was not codified or not enforced to the Indians. But after the independence, it was enforced to adopt the Hindu religion. Then Brahmin are guided king to control Hindu. We have seen in the earliest time also their law was changed and the system are running for the development of the Hindu law, and the king also having the guide. So Brahmins are guide and they are only guiding the king to control the Hindu religion. So we can say whenever there is a changes on the system, so on the basis of that, all the system are running. Brahmins are guided king. Brahmin were real rulers of the country, and the Hindu law as a law of Smritis modified and supplemented by the customs and administered by the court. Okay, uh, thank you.